Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of That Gives Me Anxiety. I don't know if it's clear by how my voice sounds, but I do not feel well. Got my second shot of the Pfizer vaccine yesterday, and yeah, it's just feeling the effects of that. It's an interesting experience where you're getting something that you know will help you and help everyone, but there's a chance that you could feel like crap for a couple days. And with that knowledge going in, it makes you a little bit anxious about what it's going to feel like. And let me tell you, I'm recording this on Wednesday, the 28th, the night before this episode's about to go live. I have procrastinated this recording since last night. But regardless of how I feel now, I'm very excited that this will open doors to get back to normal life. And that will certainly help with my personal anxiety. All right, well, I've got a super fun episode. I'm interviewing my friend Cristina Perdomo, who's an actress and a comedian. And we're talking about her anxiety, which in this episode is caused by birds. I'm personally not too nervous around birds. Though when I lived in New York City, I would find myself crossing the street or just like going out of the way to avoid pigeons. This is something about like the fluttering and the disease, and it's just not something I want touching me. And now in South Carolina, it's kind of funny. So we have a backyard and our dog Ollie goes out there. And there's a bunch of birds in the back that live in these bushes, and they must be having babies or have eggs or something back there because they keep kind of like hovering above and kind of like dive bombing Ollie, which as a dog dad has turned on the how dare you in me. So I've taken to spraying them with the hose to protect my little baby. Cristina is very open about her anxiety related to birds and windshield wipers, and also talks about her experience with seeing a therapist and getting treatment. I feel like there's a lot of people who experience a hurdle when they've decided they want to see someone to actually seeing a therapist. And I think Cristina provides a lot of insight as to why it would be beneficial and why it's not scary or like you see in movies. Well, all right, let's jump right into it. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I'm a good fit for this show.
Why do you say that?
Because I have a lot of anxieties and I'm scared of a lot of things.
Sure.
But the one specific thing that I have had, like I've been scared of the longest is birds. I'm very scared
Birds.
of birds. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I definitely want to get into that, but I just want to introduce you to the audience. This is
Yeah.
Cristina Perdomo. She's a wonderful improviser. We know each other through the pit. And it's kind of funny that I'm like having to think about calling you Cristina because you go so often by your nickname,
I
the
go by
Chicho.
Chicho, the Chicho. Yes.
Can you tell everyone how that came about?
Yes. So I am dating one of Patrick's friends, and I was telling him he doesn't speak Spanish, and I was telling him one day that in Puerto Rican slang, a chicho is like a love handle. And he loved that so much that we started calling each other Chicho, and then it just trickled out. And so I think me and him now to other people are known as the Chichos or Chicho.
Yes, I can confirm that. And
Yeah.
I must share, it's like adorable to hear you guys go back and forth calling each other Chicho. Have any Spanish language speakers
Yes,
look at you?
my parents are horrified. My parents are horrified, and it's so funny because my dad finds it hilarious, and he says, "I'm gonna start calling your mom Chicho," and my mom looked at him and was like, "Don't you dare!"
Over my dead body, you'll be calling
Over
me
my
love
dead
handles.
body, am I gonna be called a love handle?
Well, it just flows off the tongue so like wonderfully.
It
Chicho
flows
is such
off the tongue. It's very cute. Even if you know Spanish and you know what that word means, it's kind of like a cute, like, term of endearment.
I love it. So birds. You know, I like you were saying when we were deciding what to talk about, you were saying there's a lot of
Yeah.
things that you're afraid of, but you came up pretty quickly with birds. And so I want to
Yeah.
hear how did this start for you? How did you realize that you were afraid of birds? Did a bird like peck you or poop on you or something?
Totally, yeah. So I have had since childhood a fear of birds, and people always ask me, is it like, oh, is it tied to like the Hitchcock movie? And I'm like,
Mhm.
no, I've never seen it and I never will because it traumatized me for life.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was one specific instance. I was in elementary school and I grew up in Puerto Rico. And in San Juan, Puerto Rico, there's a specific park. It's a pigeon park. So there's a lot of pigeons, and you go there and they sell bird feed, and you can go and feed the
Oh.
pigeons. But I've always been a little like skeptical of birds. I don't know. I just like the flailing wings, abrupt movements, like made me nervous as an anxious child.
Uh-huh.
So one time I went to the pigeon park. I can't remember if it was like who I was with, but I remember buying bird feed and all the other kids were reaching out their arms and all these birds were going. And so like they were like, Christina, go do it, do it. And I was so nervous that I had the bird feed in my hand and I was so anxious that I just threw it up and some of
Uh-huh.
it landed on my hair. In my memory, right? As a kid, to me, it was like it felt like a swarm of birds came towards me. Realistically, it might have been like two, but that's too many.
Sure.
So, yeah, that was like, I think the most like traumatizing experience I've had of birds. And then there's a second instance
Okay.
which like didn't happen to me directly, but I literally took this piece of information and I was like, oh, they can't be trusted. I was in elementary school and there was a kid and he like his parents raised chickens in the backyard, in their
Mhm.
backyard, and he was telling us that his mom dropped him off with an eye patch and he was like, oh yeah, it's because a chicken pecked her eye. And
Was that
and I
truthful?
don't know, I don't know if this was real. I don't know,
Okay.
but you didn't have to tell me twice. So
Don't
those
even
like
joke like that. It's not even
don't
funny.
even joke. So those were the two instances where I'm like, I can't mess with them. I can't. We can just coexist, but I have to keep my distance.
You know what's interesting? Like, as you've been telling the story, and for people listening, we're on a Zoom call so we can see each other, but you started rocking back and forth with
Yes.
like anxiety.
Yeah, you're calling me out, Patrick, but yes, I get so anxious. So yeah, like at least for me, it's not, I feel like there's some people, I've looked up like bird phobias before, and there are
Hmm.
some people that like just even seeing images of birds makes them anxious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, I don't think my phobia is that extreme, but if I like see a bird, I have to be significantly far away from it. Like I will never be that person. You know when you like get off of a cruise ship, there are some like islands that have like take a picture with a parrot.
Yeah.
You will never catch me there.
That's good. It gets you out of tourist traps and
It,
tourist photo ops.
you know what? Maybe that's a blessing in disguise.
Right. So Home Alone 2 must be a horror movie for you.
A horror movie, even though she's so sweet.
Yeah, right?
That woman. I see, I can appreciate what she does. It's kind of one of those things of like, God, you do such wonderful things. You feeding these birds. I respect you. I could
Hmm.
never do that work. Like
Right.
I'm talking about like a humanitarian. Like you're so brave.
So the pigeon park, how many
Yeah.
birds? I mean, I know you said you may not have been there since you were a kid.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like your favorite place in the world, but like how many birds are we talking?
There are so many birds. Also, like Old San Juan, so many pigeons.
Mm.
So many pigeons that like when I was little, we would go to Old San Juan sometimes and I'd be like, oh, this it's beautiful now and I love going. But when I was a kid, I'd be like, why are we here? It smells like pigeon poop to my mom. And I'm like, and my mom's like, just take in the culture. I don't know. Like, relax.
This is your
But
culture. You need to accept it, look at it. Yeah.
exactly. But that pigeon park has so many pigeons. Like, that's the thing too. It's like the thing that I guess freaked me out about the birds is they would all come in swarms for the food. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So I like again, memory is such a strange thing because I genuinely don't remember. Like, I feel like it was so many birds attacking me, but realistically, I don't think it was that dramatic.
And that's a good point about like memory. I feel like a lot of times in my life where I've been anxious, I remember the feeling a bit more than like the circumstantial memory.
Totally. Absolutely. So yeah, it's like you kind of hang on to that portion of the memory and like you kind of like block out the details.
Right, which may calm you down, right? If it was just like
Right.
one bird and like a strong gust of wind,
Yeah.
like,
Which was probably, but like the fact that it was just up in here, up in my hair was stressful.
that
No.
is stressful. I will say, like, I'm not afraid of birds, but when
Mhm.
I'm walking down the sidewalk in New York City and there's a pigeon walking to me, I kind of like tense up because it's just like I don't want like I
No,
don't
the
want it touching
flapping.
me. Yeah, the flapping.
Yeah. You know what I think it is? Like, speaking about memory, maybe I just don't like flapping or like long wings or arms because actually, one of my first fears that I remember, and my mom will tell you this, when I was a toddler, I
Mhm.
was terrified of windshield wipers. So when
Windshield
I would
wipers.
get strapped into the car seat and it would rain, my parents would have to put on the windshield wipers. And I was so, because to me they looked like monster arms. So so I was scared of windshield wipers and I would fall asleep on the car seat, like covering my eyes, and I would literally fall asleep with my eyes covered
Oh my gosh.
because
I'm
of
so
the wind.
sorry. I'm
So,
so sorry to laugh.
no, it's okay. I've overcome that fear now.
Oh, good. Good.
I've had enough exposure therapy with my own car that I was able to overcome it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and so like I wonder, like thinking of that memory, I'm like, is it something just about like the abrupt waving that
Mhm.
unsettles me? I don't know.
Well, if you described yourself as an anxious kid,
Hmm.
and if you're anxious, anxiety is your fight or flight initiation
Yeah,
starting up in a situation that it doesn't have to. So, like a sudden move, like it perpetuates that, right?
it
It keeps it
perpetuates
going.
a response.
Yeah. So maybe you're just an anxious kid and doesn't like, had it been someone starting a loud song, maybe that would have been something.
Exactly. What I like to think about with anxiety, which I think like one of my therapists told me growing up, it's like, think of like you just have a very sensitive car alarm.
I love
It,
that.
yeah, so like there's like another car where it's like the alarm won't go off, but if it like hits something, it hits a tree, hits another car, the alarm will go off. But maybe
Right.
for you, your nervous system is just sensitive that like a gust of wind will set off your car alarm.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, I like thinking of it that way.
It makes you feel like, all right, I'm just sensitive. Whatever.
I'm just set like who can okay, fine. I'm just sensitive to the world around me. I'm observant.
Be gentle.
Yeah, I'm just gentle. It's okay.
Wanted to jump in here real quick and let you know that today's episode is brought to you by My Software Tutor. Listen, everyone could use a little bit of a dusting off when it comes to different software. The job market is crazy right now. So, can Excel be my friend? Many people have wondered this for years. The answer is yes, it can. Excel can feel really daunting. It took me a while to actually get a little bit of Excel under my belt. Reading out loud with a fever is a difficult task. But My Software Tutor offers 3 levels of real-time Zoom-based courses with a live instructor. Whew, come on, Benny. They all deliver practical, functional business skills in a friendly, supportive environment. These courses will increase your marketability, whether you're an employee, job seeker, consultant, or contractor. Register at mysoftwaretutor.com and use the promo code POD20 to save 20% off. There it is. There's the words. Register at mysoftwaretutor.com and use promo code POD20 to save 20% off all registrations. Hey! Today's episode is also brought to you by Garnish Entertainment. I've personally taken one of these Garnish Entertainment classes. So much fun. If you're an adult, you should know how to pour a cocktail that's not just like a bourbon and ginger or a vodka soda. It makes you look good. You know, if you're going to a party, you want to dress up and look nice, you should be able to throw together a nice cocktail as well. Best of all, you can do it with some friends. So, are you missing your friends? Yes, I think we all are. Tired of unwinding in front of the TV? Eh, yeah, yes and no. Losing your marbles ever so slightly? Yes, absolutely. Shake up your night with a Garnished virtual cocktail event. Garnished Entertainment is a New York based mixology event company with the mission of bringing communities together through creative and entertaining virtual cocktail classes. Maybe you can make some friends in My Software Tutor and then get together and do a Garnished class. Whether you're catching up with old friends, team building with colleagues, or looking for the perfect date night, Garnish would love to be your host. Let's garnish. Oh man, I'm gonna need a lot of Gatorade.
Gone to therapy, and if you felt comfortable sharing that,
Yeah.
anything that you've taken away from those sessions. What you just provided is an excellent example, but I'm wondering if there's anything else.
Totally. I think the main takeaway with anxiety, because I also do suffer from like panic attacks every once in a while. I haven't experienced one in a few months, so that's been really good.
That's
Um,
really good, and that is
yeah,
against every odd, right?
I know. I am shocked at what my body has been able to do.
We're recording this, we're still in coronavirus. The election's coming up.
Yes, so
Uh,
like in theory, I should just be a wreck, but I've been doing well
I'm
mental
so happy
health
to hear
wise,
that.
which is good. Side note before I talk about, because I entered therapy like shortly, I did therapy again shortly after like the lockdown. It was so
Mm-hmm.
funny because, well, not funny, but I'm also like a bit of a hypochondriac. So like I'm very much like a germaphobe, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like back in March, and my boyfriend and I was like, freaking out about coronavirus. Are we going to
Of
experience
course.
it? Blah blah blah. And my boyfriend was like, "Listen, Christina, you just have to like not let your fears control you. You know what I mean? It's like you don't act or don't overreact until you have to. Like you can't let it take over your life." And you're like, you are so right. I can't. And then 2 weeks later, the lockdown happened. So I was like, I was trying to be more calm.
Yeah, but
I guess.
that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's great advice though, that like, a healthy amount of fear is I already said healthy, but
Yeah.
sometimes fear
Healthy.
can get behind the wheel.
Yeah. And also it can like, I think like a healthy amount of fear is good because it's like you like take precaution. Like if you didn't
Hmm.
have any fear, you wouldn't be too safe. You know what I
Right, you
mean?
wouldn't look both
So
ways when crossing the street. You wouldn't,
exactly.
this and that.
Yeah, so fear is there to help you, but when it comes to a point where it's unmanageable, that's
Hmm.
where you kind of have to you kind of have to like work in some tools in your life to help yourself. So I started doing therapy again, and one of the most helpful things, specifically too with panic attacks,
Hmm.
my therapist was telling me, she was like, the reason like panic attacks escalate and your anxiety escalates and you feel like you're out of control and it's an out of body experience, you don't have control over your body, is because when you have that anxious feeling coming on, your immediate response is to fight it and to be like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it.
Right.
And as a result, you get like a physiological response. And then it's really hard to break that cycle. So I think the most valuable thing I've learned is once I start feeling anxious and like, okay, this is getting a little too much for me to handle, you
Hmm.
just have to accept that it's happening. You're like,
Mm.
I have to accept that it's happening. It is what it is. I'm feeling anxious, but it's okay. Like, I'm not, because the main thing about like at least panic attacks for me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack right now and I'm going
Yeah,
to die.
right.
Right. So I just have to keep reminding myself, like, whenever I'm feeling that way, okay, you're not going to die. You're fine. You're feeling anxious. It's okay to
Hmm.
feel anxious, but just accept that you're in this moment and it'll pass. This moment's not going to last forever.
Kind of like the advice they give someone who's caught up, a swimmer who's caught up in a riptide, accept that it's going to
Mhm.
take you out a little bit. When it's over, you just gently swim to the side and you'll be fine.
Exactly. So you just have to have that mindset of anxiety and fear. It's normal. You're human, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a response that your body does. It's like it's a natural response. Like we don't get mad at like a dog wagging its tail because it's what it's supposed to do.
Right.
So like in a sense, being anxious and cautious and fear is a regular response for us. So like when it's happening, the best thing to do is just accept your circumstances, and then you just have to do whatever you can, like whatever feels good for you
Mm-hmm.
to ride it out.
Love that. That's such wonderful advice. I mean, obviously easier said than done because panic attacks. I mean, whenever I've had one, my first thought is like, oh, that's it. Here we go. I'm dead, you know?
Yeah,
And
same. Another thing that I found really helpful too is when you're in that moment, you're so in your brain, and I feel like I lose control of my body.
mm-hmm.
So another thing that's really helped me, like if I am like on the verge of a panic attack or I'm having a panic attack currently, you do something physical that you can do. Like you incorporate your five senses. So something that I like to do is I turn on the faucet and I run my hands through the water and I like focus on that. And I'm like, okay, this is cold water. Let me do it normal. How does it feel? How about if it's like lower pressure, higher pressure? And then it like gets me out of my head, as weird as that sounds.
Really? That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Just
Yeah.
trying
And
to
so,
ease
yeah,
your way out.
totally. And people respond well to music and sound. So they might do that.
Mm-hmm.
Other people will be like,
Improv object work.
there you go,
Practicing.
just like
I'm making breakfast.
making
Yeah.
origami, making a
Yeah.
sandwich.
That's one
You're
thing about
having like a
improv that,
panic attack in public and you're just like miming.
right?
Making,
I got to make it real. I got to make it real,
I have to
believable.
make it real. Oh my God.
That's one thing that I guess I've been doing less improv, obviously, because there's a global pandemic, but that's one thing that
Yeah,
I never really loved. I mean, it makes perfect sense. And when people can do object work, they look like a magician, but
I know. Some people are just, I just like feel like when I am in my head too much about it, I feel like I look like such an idiot up there being like, I look like I've never made a sandwich in my life.
right. Yeah. Right.
Because
Just
like
so
I'm
dramatic or
yeah. When I was on a team, I was on one team once, and one of my friends who was on that same team knew that I did not like object work. And so whenever when we were in a scene together, he'd be like, all right, time to put these wedding invitations in these envelopes. Let's
Oh
go.
man, I love that. I kind of love that. Just making you do it. Yeah.
I do too. I'm like, God damn it.
Right. That's when you get them after the show and be like, yeah, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you had any, I'd imagine a situation, you're nervous or anxious around birds. Like,
Mhm.
have you ever unexpectedly had to go to someone's house or like a friend of a friend's apartment or something like that, and they had a bird and you had to pretend like, oh, it's great. It's great that you have a,
Yeah.
oh gosh.
Yeah. I remember in our neighborhood, we had like a family living there once who had a parrot,
Okay.
but it was like in the back terrace, so it was easy to like remove myself from from the
Was it
parrot.
just
Like
flying back in the room?
no, it was in its
And it's
cage.
okay.
So it was fine, but I don't know. I feel like one of the things to do there would be like, oh, let's go talk to my parrot. Let's go feed my
Of
parrot.
course, yeah.
I'd be like, I'm just gonna stand here.
What's your mom doing? Let's go hang out with your
Let's
mom.
go hang out with your. I'm gonna be in the kitchen with your mom. We're gonna work on something nice for everyone else.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting though because I feel like to a certain degree, I'm not used to like pets that are not cats or dogs because my
Hmm.
mom, I remember growing up, me and my sister would go to my mom and be like, we should get a bunny rabbit, we should get a hamster. And
Yeah.
my mom was like, if it's smaller than a cat, it's a rodent. I don't want it. So it's interesting because I'm just not used to like animals. Like you and Jamie have a turtle. I'm just
Yeah, we
not
have a
used to the
Russian box
concept.
tortoise.
Yeah, I'm not used to the concept of having an animal that's not a cat or a dog.
Uh-huh.
So it's funny because I feel like a parrot or a parakeet falls into that same umbrella.
It's funny. A lot of people have that question for us where it's like, all right, well, what do you do with it? And it's like, I don't know. You kind of just do what you hang out.
You hang out,
You watch them eat. You let them
make
walk
sure
around.
their needs are fulfilled.
Right. Very, yeah. You're not going to get, the love that you get from a dog or a cat, but it's, I'd recommend a tortoise. They're so fun.
I know, they're so cute.
Yeah. And the other thing everyone always asks, like everyone just assumes like we have like a Galapagos tortoise walking around our apartment in Brooklyn. They think it's so big, but it's about the size of a balled up fist.
Do they think you guys like have a reservation?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In our Crown Heights, Brooklyn apartment.
I remember too when I was a kid, because my mom was like, no pets in the house. We have our dogs. We're happy. My sister and I went like secret mission and we rescued a hermit crab. It wasn't rescuing. We just took a hermit crab
From the beach.
and we hid it. We hid it in our rooms.
Uh-huh.
And we were like improvising and we don't have a tank for it. So we had a plastic box for whatever. So we were like, we're saving this hermit crab. We have a hermit crab pet. And then it died a few days later because we knew how to take care of it. And
Right.
so and now I'm like, God, I guess my mom's right. I can't handle it. I can't handle this level of responsibility.
Right, yeah. So how do you think, I mean, you're in therapy. Do you think your anxiety has grown over time or lessened because you've been someone active in therapy?
Yeah, I think what I've come to realize is like, my anxiety is always going to be there. You know what I mean? I just have a sensitive car alarm. So, but I think what therapy has helped me realize is that I can do things to make it not so severe and not so bad.
Right.
Like I know that I'm always going to experience these things, but like now I have the tools to deal with it, and now I'm a little more like introspective. And I'm able to like think more objectively when I'm feeling certain ways. And I'm kind of like, okay, this is just a feeling, or it's like, I like to imagine of if my best friend was telling me the same exact thing to me, what would my response be to them? Because it like takes you out of your own head and you're thinking more objectively. So yeah, I think it definitely helped.
Yeah, it's exactly like if you were giving someone advice
About like a bad boyfriend or something like that, where it's like you could see it when it's them, you can't see it when it's you.
When it's you. Exactly.
The anxiety is the same.
So yeah, anxiety is a bad boyfriend.
Everyone else can see it. Everyone wants you to get rid of it.
I want you to get rid of it. You can do better, but somehow.
Love yourself.
Love yourself. I think this episode should be titled Birds and Bad Boyfriend Anxiety.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what I'll title it. Well, like another thing about therapy and what I've learned while recording this podcast is that a lot of what therapy does is arm you with these tools, kind of like Batman's utility belt of like, all right, I need this at this moment. And if you don't spend time and be open to therapy, I feel like there's a lot of people who are hesitant about taking that step. But it's amazing. Batman can't fight crime without all this stuff on his belt. Other than he's just a rich guy with not a lot going on.
No, rich guy with just weird costumes.
Right. Yeah. Who's just into leather, right? And there's nothing wrong with that.
Leather, it's fine.
Right.
No, I totally agree with you. I think before I was like taking my mental health more seriously, I was also kind of like, I just don't see how this could help me. I don't know, like it was just like a weird, strange concept to me. But once I started going to therapy, I was like, this shit is awesome.
Yeah.
My therapist would be like, I want you to journal this or this, or I want you to make a list of this. And I remember when I was first going to therapy, I'd be like, okay, let me make a list. But it actually does help you see a different perspective. If that makes sense.
Totally. And on top of, you're on the couch And the
therapist is zoning out or like sneaking out of the room for a snack that you see in movies. Like it's totally
Yeah.
not happen. Just like
Exactly.
a
I know.
doctor.
I just like, I remember before my first therapy appointment, I don't know, I was like a teenager or whatever. I remember being like, I just don't want to be in a room splayed out on a couch talking to a stranger.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, I just don't want to lay down. And I remember my mom's like, you don't have to lay down. It's not how it works.
So, all right. I think we're coming to the end here, but I want to ask you a few questions. Big Bird. Does Big Bird cause anxiety?
Big Bird. I don't think he's causes anxiety. He's not a malicious guy to me. But I wouldn't go out to lunch with him. I can just accept. I don't think I could go to like. I would just be like, Big Bird, I respect you for who you are. Thank you for all the joy you bring to the youth of our world. But like, peace.
All right. You won't be getting salads with Big Bird. Eagles are the country's animal and like a symbol of that. You know, have you ever been somewhere where someone's been doing like an eagle flying around and coming to land to a trainer or anything like that?
No, I have never seen that in person, which is good. I think like eagles in concept, I think birds as a concept are very beautiful.
Okay.
Especially some birds, I can appreciate that they look very regal.
Yeah, they do.
But I definitely feel like if I was in that situation where like you're seeing like a bird trainer, I'd be like, I gotta sit in the back. I gotta sit in the back. It's gonna land on me and then take me away.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, oh my gosh. I can't believe I completely forgot about this. So I used to work for Cheddar and was making a video once about odd animals that used to exist and are now extinct. And one of them was I believe a type of hawk that was so big, its wingspan was so big, it could pick up a grown man and fly away.
No.
Nightmare fuel. I'm sorry.
Patrick, I'm glad I never thought I'd say this in 2020, but I'm glad we live in the now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right? How terrifying is this?
Like, why did it become extinct? I feel like that's a beast of an animal.
I think we probably hunted it to extinction.
Oh.
So, yeah.
You the thing I'm the most scared of? Humans. Humans are far worse than birds.
Right. I also want to ask you, are penguins or ostriches or like, you know, kind of otter birds?
Yeah. I honestly think penguins, I think, are cute. It's weird because they're obviously birds, but they're oddly looking enough where it's like endearing.
Well, it's like watching the Three Stooges with them. They're like bumbling around. They're weird looking. It's a slapstick
bumbling around in their little tuxedo looking body.
Yeah.
They're so cute. They also like can't really fly.
Yeah. So they're not going to flutter on you.
Yeah. I'm very scared of ostriches though.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Well, it's like a living velociraptor.
Yeah. One of my grandma's friends growing up had like, it was so strange. Like her husband was like a rich doctor and their hobby was they had a huge plot of land and they were like, we just have a farm. We have a zoo full of animals. Like
and they had an ostrich?
They had a couple of ostriches.
A couple?
Yes, a couple of, and I was terrified given my history with birds.
Of course, yeah.
But like even when we would go, my grandma's friend would be like, "Oh, don't go." They're all closed up and fenced in, but she's like, "Don't go near them. They will peck you." And then I'm like, "This is not helping me at all."
And that could be something just to like tease the little kid, right?
Exactly.
But it's like it's real to me.
Yeah, and it was so real to me. And I remember looking at them and I'm like, God, they just look like they hate us. You gotta go. You gotta give them space.
Oh my gosh, that's so. It seems like your family puts you in a lot of situations with birds.
It's interesting. I feel like now that I'm recounting it, I'm like, what are they doing? Is it fun? Is it a fun game?
Right. They just think like you're a little nervous. Like, no, I'm going to be traumatically speaking about this on a podcast 25 years from now.
Exactly. Well, it was funny. Literally the other day when I was in Puerto Rico back in July visiting my family,
Mm-hmm.
we live right by the beach. And my mom, me and my sister one day, my mom's room is connected. She has a nice balcony looking over at the beach. And
Oh,
so we
wonderful.
always used to do like happy hours there, which
All
was really,
right.
really nice. Yeah, so we were sitting up for happy hour. We were
Sure.
grabbing the wine, grabbing the cheese, grabbing the crackers. And there was this bird that came. And this kind of bird, they're called changos in Puerto Rico. They're
Okay.
like a very small, like crow, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
And this bird came, and these birds are pretty pushy when it comes to wanting to eat food or whatever. But
Mhm.
this bird was like, no chill 2020, and just came and was like squawking at us and was like coming at us and was like,
Give me your cheese. Give
trying
me
to
your
front.
cheese.
And we were I was out. And of course, and my mom too, she's like, we gotta go. So we all left and we closed the balcony door and we're looking out the balcony. And the bird is just eating all our cheese. And we're there like,
You didn't bring the cheese in? Oh, no.
no, he was too close to it. So for the rest of the time that I was there, we were like, that's mom. We would call her Mama Chongo.
I love that. That's so funny. Watch out for Mama Chongo.
Mama Chongo. So yeah, that literally happened not too long ago. And it reconfirmed the thing of birds and I do not mix. We just don't mix.
Right? Especially since you're like sitting in the room, the door is closed, and just watching the crow or the Chongo just eat
at my
destroy your happy hour. Yeah.
I know, destroying my happy hour. We were like, let's just finish this wine indoors.
Yeah. It's nice inside too.
No pressure. We'll grab the cheese plate, whatever is left of it, later.
We'll get his scraps. Yeah.
No,
Mama's hungry.
Mama's hungry. Let her do her thing.
Okay, last question.
Yes.
Have you ever been pooped on by a bird?
Yes.
Oh, please. I have also been pooped on, but I want to hear yours first.
Sure. I feel like there have been a couple of times in Old San Juan where I've been pooped and peed on by birds.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so interesting because every time it happens, I'm pissed. and there's always someone in the group who's like, that's good luck. That's like a sign of good luck. I'm like, no, it's not.
Then you trade places with me.
Exactly. I am no one's bathroom, Patrick. I'm like, who decided that this was good luck? Who?
Right. That's just the thing you say.
Just a thing you say to make the person feel better. But yes, I have been pooped on. It's not fun.
No, it's not.
It's not.
The first time it happened to me was, so the first day of college, I went to SUNY Buffalo at undergrad. And the first day, they have these buses from the dorms to the classrooms. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to take the bus. I'm going to walk that walk. It's a little bit longer, but like I'm excited. It's a beautiful day. I'm starting a new life here. I get all the way over there, marching in there, wearing my best polo at the time. When
wow.
Very fancy, given I mainly wore sports-related T-shirts and sweatpants during that part of my life. But I'm very close to the classrooms, and a bird poops right on my head.
Oh, no. Right on your head.
Right on my head. I immediately turned right back around, walked back, showered, and took a nap, and skipped the first couple classes.
Yeah, you were literally like, I give up.
I'm done.
Well, the head is that's bad.
Yeah.
At least with up on your arm, whatever, like on your shirt. The shirt's annoying, but on your arm, you can like wash that off.
Right.
One of the times it happened, I remember, again, Old San Juan. I was in Old San Juan.
I really want to avoid Old San Juan.
I really do. I don't know. But this is one of the ones I distinctly remember because of how I dealt with the situation. A bird pooped on my foot. And I literally was like so devastated. I I was like, I gotta walk to the nearest bathroom. I went into a Subway and just bolted into the bathroom and was cleaning my foot on the sink in a Subway.
That's amazing. Like with like the people working there just being like, would you like a six? Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess I was young too, so I don't think at this time a lot of businesses were like, oh, bathroom for customers only.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
Bathrooms used to be much more available to anybody.
Exactly. So I think it was one of those things, but honestly, I was in such distress. I don't remember whether or not I had to have to use. I just remember, like literally in the Subway bathroom, my foot in the sink and me scrubbing vigorously with hand soap.
And then, well, it's just like one of those things where, hey, this is what had to happen, and you handled the situation.
I know. I should have just taken a nap after that.
That's how I live my life. If you get pooped on, everything's canceled. Go take a nap.
Go take a nap. I really like that. If there's anything to get out of this podcast, just take a nap.
Exactly.
You'll feel better when you wake up.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being so open and sharing your experiences, not only with
anxiety-inducing birds, but also therapy. I know that's a personal journey, and yeah, that's really great when people are able to open up.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was so fun to chat.
Of course, yeah, I missed you.
I miss you too. We got to hang out soon.
All right, thank you so much for listening. I just want to say, if you're liking the show, to please remember to rate and review it. And you can find the show on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I'd also like to mention my other podcast, Death Space Filling the Void. It's a show about death, dying, grief, and life. If you are nervous about birds or any of the other topics we've covered, I'd love to hear from you. And if you have an idea for a suggestion for a show we can do in the future, I'm all ears. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Okay, I am going to go to sleep and sleep for 14 hours. And if you're getting your vaccine, don't worry, it's worth it. We all want to come out of our houses and get together as soon as possible, and this is the way out. All right, see you again Thursday.